Hello and welcome to the Kopala TV main news. And now we get straight into the headlines. Zambian DNA pleased with President Lungu's commitment to improve Zambia's welfare. UPND youths term 30 million kwacha empowerment stimulus package laughable. In international news, COVID-19 death toll passes 500,000 worldwide. Join us in a bit after this. To present the Kopala TV main news in detail, my name is Wabwila Musongole. The Zambian DNA says it is gratifying to note that President Edgar Lungu has demonstrated a tacit commitment to improve the Zambian people's welfare. Zambian DNA spokesperson Spooky Mulemwa told Kopala TV News that President Lungu, during these few years that he has been in power, has introduced many citizens' empowerment initiatives, including the Youth Empowerment Fund and Presidential Empowerment Initiative Fund. Mr. Mulemwa says the head of state is the first ever Republican president who has shown that he cares for the Zambian people by introducing many empowerment initiatives tailored to benefit the youth, women, street vendors, marketeers, and the vulnerable in our society.
It's gratifying to note that President Edgar Lungu has demonstrated tacit commitment to improve the Zambian people's welfare. Indeed, President Lungu, during these few years he has been in power, has introduced many citizens' empowerment initiatives, including the Youth Empowerment Fund and the Presidential Empowerment Initiative Fund. In fact, the head of state is the first ever Republican president who has shown that he cares for the Zambian people by introducing many empowerment schemes and initiatives tailored to benefit the youth, street vendors, women, marketeers, and the vulnerable in society. We are also glad that the government has provided a 30 million kwacha windfall relief fund meant to benefit local artists to help them improve their livelihoods. It's for this reason that President Edgar Lungu deserves another 5-year mandate to govern, so that he continues to roll out many citizens' empowerment initiatives in all parts of the country.
United Party for National Development, UPND, has termed the 30 million kwacha youth empowerment stimulus package as laughable. UPND Copperbelt Province Youth spokesperson Lazarus Sichamba told Kopala TV News that it is very worrying and the party finds it very sad. Mr. Sichamba says the youths wanted to protest against all the bad things happening in the country and that they were not asking for money.
I want to comment on the issue concerning the youth stimulus package that the government has offered to the youths. You know, it is very worrying and very, actually, as UPND, we find it very sad because, you see, the youths wanted to express themselves. The youths wanted to actually to demonstrate, to protest against the high level of corruption, against the high level of unemployment, against the issue concerning various issues affecting our nation, social caste transfer, and all these issues that the PF has continued doing in the country. And what happened? They were called all sorts of names hired by the political party, especially the artists. They were asking about the enabling environment. You have destroyed this country. Youths, they were not asking about your so-called empowerment in terms of 30 million kwacha. What is that 30 million kwacha going to do with the almost Kashinga 9 million youths in Zambia? So I think this is a laughable matter and the PF government should be very much serious. This is the same government which promised the youths that they are going to provide 500,000 jobs. In 2016, they continued, they said, we're going to give you 1 million jobs. Today, where are those jobs?
Moving on, the Zambia Alliance of Women, ZAW, has called on government to work on the road network in Nabuyunji and other areas in Mumbwa district to enable farmers to transport their produce to the market. ZAW Executive Director Eda Chimia says lack of health facilities, water, among other challenges, has exposed the residents to COVID-19 and other diseases. More in the following report.
The Zambia Alliance of Women is calling on government to work on the road network in Abuyunji and other areas in Mombwa district. This was after the local people disclosed various challenges. ZAW Executive Director Eda Chimia says the farmers in rural areas have great potential that must be unlocked for national economic growth to be attained.
We are looking at the distances looking very far. It's because there's no road network. If there was a proper road, I think the areas would be reachable. So they need roads, they need schools, and they need clinics as well. And that will help them, because I think at the moment we are looking at agriculture as the green gold. We're looking at the nation increasing economic growth through agriculture.
Ms. Chimia has however bewailed the lack of water that hinders the local people from producing much, as well as the lack of health facilities that has led to maternal deaths.
Most of them, they do not have water. So most of them are keen to do gardening, but they can only do so much because there are no boreholes. If they are there, they are very inadequate, and they do not manage to cover everybody. So there's a challenge of water, there's a challenge of the road network, there is also a challenge of health facilities. We've had people even dying because the only clinic is at Nangoma, in Nangoma, and Nangoma is so many kilometers away from Nabuyuni. So if you think about a woman in labor to get to the hospital, I think it's really there are people that have died and have even died whilst giving birth, or even giving birth to maybe babies that do not make it.
However, the Rural Women Assembly in Mombwa has challenged government to empower women farmers by buying their produce and stop importing outside products. Victoria Mukupo reporting.
In case you have just tuned in, you are watching the Kopala TV main news. We break for some commercials. We'll be right back.
Kopala TV, Kopala ya buena mumwesu Kopala. Kopala TV.
My number ishusho limentindeaza yama oji orushani Kopala TV
yama oji imuntu wandi yesu fwebene by fwebene fwebene naidede kalasti yako Kopala futi yaba Kopala
manje kuikatashani yoina na ena ya kuntambo oronijiviji
wala iwe ile sangwa patopsta decoder channel 98 paku ninshi yatubira puta menso ninshi yalila ni evidimbwe kule izimoli la pemunjazi
so yulila ndati Kopala TV tayabanga ya boiling channel wako batu wachila tamba fe wino kwangwa filamba fyambo kupona uruwa mfotoro bantu ifuma chane wefingi fyamo pura fi
alula iwe Kopala TV ni Kopala futhi eile kuchalo no shali mokuba molasti elo ile sansa Kopala yonse my number ukwambila pepa my number pandula lwansha kito paketi ke mufurila mufuken jingola pa jingo begi na chidila bombe ni Kopala TV eiliko
muntu wanja pakushongora fika top star wetata ndetambela pofi Kopala TV pachane 98 apa kude konkana ne charo bamba to bamba ni pate after pate wo pate after pate wo Kopala TV OG yeah. Kopala TV, available on Topstar Channel 98. Kopala TV, entertainment just for you.
Looking for an opportunity to grow your business? Well, Kopala TV has good news for all small-scale businesses. You can now advertise on Kopala TV's Makwebo. Bonseba na mayo na bashtata. Iseni mulangishe amakwebo yenu pamutengo uachepa nga 100 kwacha. Yes, you heard right. For as low as 100 kwacha, your business will get its peak. Whatever the business, we will advertise. All you need to do is send a text of what your business offers, indicating the name, location, and contact details to the number below. Payment for the advertising spot can be made through MTN mobile money on the number down below. Makwebo, make your business known.
One Zambia, one nation.
Zambia chalo chesu. Stop political violence.
I am Zambian. I am against political violence.
I am Zambian, and I say disarm all cadres now.
It's not one Zambia if we kill each other. Stop the violence.
It's not good killing one another as Zambians. Stop the violence.
Let's keep the peace in our streets. Let's work to stay one Zambia.
It's not one Zambia if we kill each other. Stop the violence.
Ndimwina Zambia. Lekeni ukulwa pamulandu wa politics.
Welcome back. All People's Congress Party APC President Nelson Musoni says there are two things that we can learn from Malawi and that what happened in that country should be a lesson to people in Africa. Mr. Musoni says there is need to hold a credible, free and fair election which all stakeholders feel comfortable with and are convinced that the election meets the minimum credentials. Mr. Musoni told Kopala TV that he is further urging desperate politicians to learn something from the events leading to the rerun of elections in Malawi.
Two things we can learn from what has transpired or what has happened in Malawi. That you cannot hinge your political ambition on a stolen election. That you cannot hinge your political ambition on tinkering with institutions and electoral fraud. So we think that those who think that they can cheat to win an election must think twice, because the dynamics, the political dynamics, the matrix have changed in the region, in Africa, that you can no longer bank on a stolen election to keep you in office, to maintain you in office. So what has happened in Malawi should be a lesson for all of us, not just in Zambia, that you need to hold a credible, free and fair election in which all stakeholders feel comfortable and are convinced that the election meets the minimum credentials, that the elections will be free and fair. So you can't lose an election and later you as an incumbent, you as a party in the government, and accuse the opposition of rigging an election. I think that doesn't make sense. Especially if it was you, the very...
Opposition political party leadership movement has reminded Zambian politicians that it is high time that they focused on serving the majority poor. Leadership Movement Party leader Dr. Richard Silumbwe says the party remains resolute to supporting action-oriented programs that go to benefit the ordinary people. Dr. Silumbwe has made a point on Masters on the Constitution Amendment Bill number 10, charging that politicians should cease politicking but instead drive towards matters that affect the majority Zambians.
The leadership movement doesn't believe in bickering and noise making. The common politicking of some sort, because we understand that currently we are not in parliament, and we are not also driving any leverage per se to change whatever is going on. And what we have done as leadership movement, we have followed the bill so closely. We understand the concerns of the opposition and the concerns of government. There are certain things that are our concerns as well. But the fact that we are not in the parliament, we have no time to waste on that bill 10, because if we come in 2021, if there is something that is our concern and we don't like it, we are going to change it. The same way these people are in power today, they are changing it. So we have no need to worry about Bill 10 as leadership movement, because we believe that the same power that whoever that changes the constitution has is the same power that we are going to have. And in any case, if there are certain concerns that Zambians themselves feel that they need to be changed, we will definitely change them.
In case you have just tuned in, you are still watching the Kopala TV main news. We break once more and return with international news.
Kopala TV, Kopala ya buena buena mumwesu Kopala. Kopala TV.
My number ishusho limentindeya yama oji orushani Kopala TV
yama oji imuntu wandi Yesu fwebene by fwebene fwebene naidede kalasti yako Kopala futi yaba Kopala
manje kuikatashani yoina na ena ya kuntambo oro ni jiviji
wala iwe ile sangwa patopsta decoder channel 98 paku ninshi yatubira puta menso ninshi yalila ni evidimbwe kule izimoli la pemunjazi
so yulila ndati Kopala TV tayabanga ya boiling channel wako batu wachila tamba fe wino kwangwa filamba fyambo kupona uruwa mfotoro bantu ifuma chane wefingi fyamo pura fi
alula iwe Kopala TV ni Kopala futhi eile kuchalo no shali mokuba molasti elo ile sansa Kopala yonse my number ukwambila pepe my number pandula lwansha kito paketi ke mufurila mufuken chingola pa chingo begi na chidila bombe ni Kopala TV eiliko
muntu wanja pakushongora kufika top star wetata ndetambela pofi Kopala TV pachani 98 apa kude konkana ne charo bampa to bamba ni pate after pate wo pate after pate wo Kopala TV OG Kopala TV, available on Topstar Channel 98. Kopala TV, entertainment just for you.
Looking for an opportunity to grow your business? Well, Kopala TV has good news for all small-scale businesses. You can now advertise on Kopala TV's Makwebo. Bonseba na mayo na bashtata. Iseni mulangishe amakwebo yenu pamutengo uachepa nga 100 kwacha. Yes, you heard right. For as low as 100 kwacha, your business will get its peak. Whatever the business, we will advertise. All you need to do is send a text of what your business offers, indicating the name, location, and contact details to the number below. Payment for the advertising spot can be made through MTN mobile money on the number down below. Makwebo, make your business known.
One Zambia, one nation.
Zambia chalo chesu. Stop political violence.
I am Zambian. I am against political violence.
I am Zambian, and I say disarm all cadres now.
It's not one Zambia if we kill each other. Stop the violence.
It's not good killing one another as Zambians. Stop the violence.
Let's keep the peace in our streets. Let's work to stay one Zambia.
It's not one Zambia if we kill each other. Stop the violence.
Ndi mwina Zambia, lekeni ukulwa pa mulandu wa politics.
Welcome back. In foreign news, the number of people to die with COVID-19 worldwide passes 500,000. Since the outbreak began, there have been more than 10 million cases, with cases rising in 30 US states, and the Texas governor speaks of a swift and dangerous turn. In the UK, Welsh school pupils return to Wales, while more shops reopen in Scotland. 2 households in Wales will be able to form one extended household from next week. Prime Minister Boris Johnson says he is concerned about a rise in coronavirus cases in Leicester, and an experimental coronavirus vaccine is approved for use by the Chinese military. We monitored the BBC for this report.
It certainly is a change in course, Yalda, for the Vice President to say wearing a mask is a good idea, because we know for so long the Vice President, the President, really anyone from the White House was deflecting any comment regarding a mask and really leaving it up to the governors to make decisions about mask wearing on a state-by-state basis. We are seeing governors in California, in Nevada, in North Carolina mandating that their residents wear masks when they're out in public or when they cannot be within 6 feet of another person. But so far, there has not been any form of federal mandate saying everyone here in the U.S. has to wear one. Absolutely, U-turn is a great word, because in places like Florida, where all of the beaches were open at one point, now we're hearing that some are going to be closed ahead of the very busy July 4th holiday weekend this coming weekend. So a real reversal in course for the Republican governor there to say that there is an issue that he says was brought on mostly by young people that have contracted the disease, but could potentially pass it on to the elderly and the more susceptible. In Texas, bars are no longer allowed to be open and restaurants have to be at 50% capacity. It's a similar story in California, where Governor Gavin Newsom has shut down all bars in Los Angeles and several other counties. So really, this is a state-by-state situation where some, like here in New York City, we're seeing phases to reopen moving forward. But in the southern states that are being hit hardest now, we're seeing that U-turn.
The rising cost of petrol and diesel in India is provoking protests in many cities. Prices at pumps have increased almost daily for the past 3 weeks, despite low oil prices. The government says it has raised fuel taxes to offset the economic crisis caused by the lockdown. Critics are accusing leaders of making huge profits from the struggling poor. We monitored Al Jazeera for these details.
A horse-powered protest against the rising price of fuel, members of India's main opposition Congress party rallied in the capital.
Right now, crude oil prices are low globally. The government is indulging in profiteering. In this time of pandemic, when people don't have money, employment or business, these people are being burdened with high fuel prices.
With restrictions on gatherings still in force to stop the spread of the coronavirus, police officers quickly dragged protesters away. The kicking and screaming because of the near-daily rise in fuel prices over the past 3 weeks. Similar protests were held around the country in the cities of Bengaluru, Ahmedabad, Patna and Lucknow against the highest fuel prices in nearly 2 years. India already had some of the highest fuel taxes in the world, but with this year's increases, drivers are paying around 260% tax on petrol and diesel. Critics say the government should pass on the benefits of low oil prices rather than raising taxes to keep prices high. The president of one of Delhi's biggest taxi unions says most of the state's 200,000 drivers haven't worked for most of this year. He says higher taxi fares are another deterrent for customers afraid of venturing out during the pandemic.
Even before the pandemic, in January, work was hard to come by as international tourists had stopped visiting India. Then we were in lockdown for nearly 3 months. Now restrictions are being eased, but since diesel prices have risen so much, people are not taking taxis.
Higher transportation costs also means food is more expensive.
It has had a major impact. The increase of 15 cents per litre of diesel has led to one truck of produce costing us $1,300 when it was $1,000 before. That 15 cents makes a big difference. Fruits and vegetables are more expensive. There are fewer trucks coming.
The government says it needs to raise taxes to generate revenue because of the economic crisis after one of the world's strictest lockdowns. The Congress Party plans to ask President Corbyn to reverse the fuel price rises as protesters accuse the government of making many lives even harder at the worst of times. Elizabeth Puranam, Al Jazeera, New Delhi.
Finally, in foreign news, French ex-Prime Minister François Fillon and his Welsh wife have received jail sentences in a fake jobs case. The Conservative politician was found guilty of paying Penelope Fillon nearly €1.2 million for work she never did as a parliamentary aide. He was sentenced to 5 years in prison, 3 of them suspended, while Mrs. Fillon was given a 3-year suspended term. The scandal ruined his presidential bid in 2007. Both have appealed, blocking Fillon's immediate detention. The 66-year-old is the most senior French political figure to receive a custodial sentence since the start of the Fifth Republic in 1958. Coronavirus masks obscured the couple's expressions as the verdicts were read out. We monitor the BBC for this story.
Indeed, and it's a very, very severe sentence, which he will appeal, I hasten to add. I mean, he's not going to be walked off to jail today, but he did get a 5-year jail term, 3 of them suspended, so he faces 2 years in jail, and his wife, Penelope, British-born Penelope Fillon, has a 2-year suspended sentence as well. So, you know, it's a damning verdict, and in its judgment, the court made some statements which were very, very severe towards the couple, in particular towards François Fillon, former Prime Minister, of course, former front-runner to win the presidency at the last election, who the court said had put private gain over public good and had failed, obviously and clearly, in his duty to probity and exemplarity as a public official by giving his wife this fake job. And that was the basis of the charge against him, that for all these years he'd employed her as his assistant and drawn hundreds of thousands of euros, pounds, dollars of public funds to do that, but that in fact she'd done nothing. And the case hinged on the argument of whether or not she'd actually done a job, and the court decided that she hadn't, and this money had therefore been misappropriated.
Hugh, as you say, a front runner in the presidential race and a real celebrated career.
Well, yes. I mean, he was a stalwart of the French centre-right going back 20 years, been a very, very young parliamentarian in the early 90s, served under Chirac, served as Prime Minister under Sarkozy, and then was the front runner in 2017 to be the next president. If we cast our minds back to then, just 4 years ago, it was looking very much as if the centre-right would win after François Hollande. And who was going to lead the centre-right? Well, it turned out that François Fillon was. He won the primaries. And right up to January, February of 2017, it looked like he was being written up as the man who was going to be France's next president. And then this dramatic, spectacular collapse caused by the revelations in a newspaper. And that is very germane to all of this, because, of course, part of the defence, what his lawyers have been arguing and will continue arguing in the appeal, is that there is much more to this than meets the eye, and that in addition to the arguments about whether or not he's guilty of what he's accused of doing, there should be another argument about how this came into the public eye and the speed with which the prosecutor's office reacted to it in a way that they say was unwanted and showed that it was being directed from above in some way.
That item concludes the Kopala TV main news for today, but before we go, we take a look at our stories that made headlines. Zambian DNA pleased with President Lungu's commitment to improve Zambia's welfare. UPND youths term 30 million kwacha empowerment stimulus package laughable. In international news, COVID-19 death toll passes 500,000 worldwide. Thank you for watching the Kopala TV main news. My name is Wabula Musongole, and God bless.